You have been lied to. For years, you have been told your DPS is your problem. You gotta sim your gear, practice your rotation, watch a guide for crying out loud. But what if I told you that's all a distraction? The real reason you're not topping the meters, it's not your skill. It is your guild, the groups you're playing with. They are unknowingly sabotaging your damage every single pull. Give me the next 8 minutes, and I am going to expose all of the hidden mistakes that your guild is making that are holding you back. I guarantee your DPS is going to go up. Your guild's DPS is going to go up, and you're going to be the hero that drags everybody to the top with you. So your guild is holding you back in DPS, which is then making your parses and your damage worse as a result. Why is that? The first reason, maybe they don't care, but I like to think that they do care. They need the proper guidance, they need you to step in and elevate their gameplay. A couple small tweaks to your raid comp could instantly increase your entire raid's DPS by 20-30%. Being able to see exactly how long buffs and debuffs were on the targets, exactly the uptime of everybody's big abilities, being able to exactly call out and see who is missing enchants, gems, who has the wrong pieces of gear on, being able to see that in a matter of seconds and improving everybody's gameplay. The other reason why your guild is holding back your DPS, it's the kill speed, the boss execution. And I can tell you, there are tools out there that are so good right now at making your guild immediately improve in a matter of minutes. You can see exactly what the problems are and save so many days, so many weeks of potentially hitting a brick wall over and over again. So the first secret to maximizing your own damage by increasing your guild's damage is the perfect raid comp. Now, unfortunately, most of us are never going to have a true perfect raid comp. That means exactly the right buffs and debuffs and exactly the meta classes and just the right amount of healers and maybe only one tank for certain fights. These are things that are luxuries realistically. But we can immediately look at our raid comp in a variety of tools and see exactly where we need to improve things. A small tweak here, a small tweak there. I'm not asking you to kick your favorite raid member and replace him with a boomkin or something. No. The first tool, the Wowhead Raid Comp Maker. Now, this is an immediate way to put your raid comp out on paper. You can easily see the different buffs, the different debuffs. And it's just a quick glance way to see, is my raid comp as optimal as possible? The 2.0 version, though, I far prefer this one, is actually using the Raid Helper tool. Now, if you have the Raid Helper bot, and I'm sure you do, everybody that's ever raided has used this, it has a secret feature, which is that it actually helps you to make way better raid comps. As you can see in the bottom left of this raid that I just rostered, we're covering all the debuffs no problem, but maybe a couple more utility cooldowns as well. We're lacking some utility. These are things that you can immediately see at a glance using Raid Helper and instantly increase your raid's DPS and decrease the number of times people are on the floor. So you've got your raid comp at least a little bit improved. Now let's immediately improve our damage in the upcoming raid we're doing. It is so much easier than it seems. For Classic, there are a bunch of amazing tools. The Combat Log Analyzer is really my favorite. It works all the way up through MOP. I'm going to link all the different ones below the video. But after MOP, I really recommend Wipefest and I recommend WoW Analyzer. Now, what's cool about these, they actually work for all versions of the game, and they have very different strengths that are specifically going to help different problems your raid is experiencing. The Combat Log Analyzer is so good at tracking things like raid buffs, consumes. WoW Analyzer is really good at rotations, checking out the uptime of different abilities and buffs, and making sure everybody is playing at the tip-top shape. Then Wipefest is amazing at actually improving your gameplay as a raid and improving your uptime, improving all the things that make you do more damage as a unit, which means more damage for you. So starting off with the Combat Log Analyzer, you can see it works for any version of Classic, it works for MOP as well. So we're starting off with the Classic version. I've loaded up a log, and immediately what you can see with the Combat Log Analyzer, you can look at gear, enchants, how many people were using different consumes, flasks. If you're playing Classic, of course, the World Buff tab is invaluable. How are you possibly going to have high damage or parse if everybody doesn't have world buffs? and being able to see, wow, this guild actually did have world buffs on every single player is very impressive, but also something that you can improve with your guild. Let's get a more modern example though. I'm in MOP right now. I just finished a recent GDKP and I want to analyze things. I want to look at how they could be better in the future. Immediately, I can pull up the gear tab and look at all the things that are uncovered. I can see whether people are hit capped, expertise capped. All the yellow means things that could be better. The red are the big red flags, things that are completely missing. Just imagine if this group that I was in, every single red thing was no longer an issue. How much more damage would we have done? 5%? 10%? It's immediate improvements that really don't take people that much. What I really love with the Combat Log Analyzer for MOP though, and modern WoW, is being able to see things like the food buff uptime, flask uptime, how many people pre-potted, how many people used a potion during the fight. That's instantly something we can improve for next time and do that much more damage. One last thing on the Combat Log Analyzer is the ability to track uptime of debuffs and buffs, and it is so helpful to see, okay, we were missing the physical damage debuff for a lot of this Sulong kill, and that is immediately something that would have significantly increased the damage of our raid. If you're not playing a version of WoW that has an updated Combat Log Analyzer, or you want to drill down way deeper into people's rotations and make things better instantly for everybody, WoW Analyzer is the next tool in your toolbox. The first thing that's going to happen when you load a log into the WoW Analyzer is you can pick a boss kill or maybe a boss attempt. I like to drill into the statistics page though for individual players. You can see things like, hey, Berserker Rage should have been used a couple more times, would have resulted in more flat damage. Things like, okay, shield wall, he only used one of potentially 3 shield walls. It may seem very insignificant, but at a high scale, it means we had to bring an extra healer, which means the kill speeds were worse, which means everybody's parses and damage were worse. The last thing I really love with WoW Analyzer is checking the cooldowns. Now, what's so cool is seeing big CDs and how everything sort of lines up. So for example, we got a Bloodlust, that's tracked, but you can see this guy did not really stack a lot of cooldowns with his Bloodlust. Ultimately, that's you as a guild, something you can immediately improve by telling people, save your CDs because we've got Lust at this time, be ready for it, we maximize our damage, we do 10%, 15% more instantly. So all the stuff we've talked about so far is easily fixable, easily trackable stuff. Things like how many times someone used Hellstones or didn't use Hellstones. But what about when you get into those tough boss fights and you're really trying to increase your damage across the raid? You're trying to minimize mistakes, minimize deaths, and make your guild perform better so you can perform better. That is where Wipefest comes in so clutch. And really what it does is it teaches you everything about every boss fight. The first thing I do whenever I open up Wipefest is I'm going to check on the overview of the flasks, the Hellstones, the food. It checks everybody's gear. You can see immediately who's missing their tier set. You can see immediately who's missing enchants. As you drill further into fights, you're going to see mechanics your guild didn't do very well. These things will slow your DPS output and lower your parses. Look at this mechanic on the Zarthic Battle Menders. We didn't kill them quickly enough. As a result, they healed more than they should have. What's so cool about Wipefest, it's pulling all the different logs that have happened for the fight in the previous week, and it is showing you how your guild performed on those mechanics. And you can see, okay, we did a lot of things very, very poorly. But what's so good about that is next time you do the fight, you can focus on specific things and make them better in the future. If you can give your guild 1 or 2 simple things to focus on every single week to improve, it's going to improve everybody's damage, and it's going to improve your damage as well. So the big takeaway from all of this, it really bothers me that people beat themselves up. They're trying to get better, but they never consider the team aspect of WoW. The whole point is it's a team effort. It is a guild effort, a group effort. If you're there trying, but you're never looking at everybody else and trying to improve them as well, you are seriously leaving meat on the bone. You are leaving so much on the table. If you look at your group, your guild's performance with an analytical eye, everybody could be improved, and as a result, your performance would be massively improved right alongside it. So do you think that your performance is ultimately completely 100% on you? Or do you think that there is some aspect of your guild that is holding you back, some aspect of your group that is holding back your performance. Let's talk about it in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Make sure to like, to subscribe, and come back soon for the best DPS in the history of WoW. The video. I'm making it. It's a video.